Hello, and welcome to Maths at Maths Chat. I told these three that they have faces fit for radio and that they should stick to podcasting, but no, they decided to jump to video as well. So, if you're just listening to the audio, why? Haven't you anything better to do? And also, we're sorry for any visual bits that you lose. Moreover, these three know nothing about anything. So if they're wrong, please tell them in explicit detail in the comment box below. And with that disclaimer out of the way, on with the show.
Hello, and welcome to Maths at Maths Chat, where I am Thomas Woolley, your co-host, and joining me now and forevermore is the irrelevant Ben Parker and the industrious Liz. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well. I mean, I did pretty well out of that.
I went with an I picked a letter in my head and then tried to find two adjectives.
Have you been talking to my wife again?
Well, I saw on Facebook the idea that you wanted to turn the heat on and she didn't, so I'm very
right.
much
So I found out that in my relationship that I am very much a Bayesian and my wife is very much an absolutist, a frequentist. Because my wife, it's all
straight in this week. Hello, everyone. We're a maths podcast. Get on with it, right?
Yeah. Do you seriously think anyone is listening to Maths at Maths Chat and don't know it's a maths podcast? Get on with it.
That's fair enough, I suppose, yeah.
My wife, it's August. We're recording this right at the end of August, and it's cold. And
It's not cold. I'm in a t-shirt.
It's freezing.
What are you talking about?
Freezing cold.
I'm in Wales. I'm in a t-shirt.
I wore a coat today. A coat.
In August. And I said to my wife, can we put the heating on? And she said, no, it's August. And I said, but it's cold. And she said, no, it's August. So she has decided that it cannot be cold in August because it's August. Whereas me, I have used the available evidence. I have taken into account the fact that it is August.
I am okay with that. I understand your point. You know, I don't agree with the it's August, therefore no temperature, no heating. I'm the it's not cold, therefore no heating. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh. You live in that there London.
It's chilly. It's chilly, Tom, and chilly brings no happy.
Here's my big thing though. You can always get hotter. You can put a jumper on. You can put a cardigan. Layers, people, layers. I can only take so many clothes off and not be arrested.
But it's more comfortable to sit there with the heating on rather than sort of dressed as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I would love that. Just wobbling.
Like, I mean, it is better for the planet, Benji, to put on lots of layers.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you.
Have you ever done the game where you try to put on as many clothes as possible?
Well, I haven't done it as a game, but I have done it while camping, where I've just been so cold that I've just put on all of my clothes.
Everything.
So I've been going on a Ryanair flight since everything on. Okay.
Good.
How are you, Liz? How is your temperature of the house?
I mean, the temperature. I live in a block of flats with a strange and mysterious quality, which is that if it gets hot at any point, outside, it remains hot inside for the next 3 months. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can open windows, you can have a fan. We don't have aircon, maybe that would help, but there's just nothing you can do. So when we had that heat wave, it heated some mysterious element in the building, and we have very
and you just radiate heat for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean that
sounds good for winter, but that sounds like hell during summer.
Well, but in winter it doesn't help because we don't get the hot days to keep it.
Oh, but doesn't it last a little bit longer into winter?
Well, ish. Yes, I'm a bit over lockdown. I could,
but the point is that as a mathematician, you know, in a lockdown, you know, it's very comforting to see one-way arrows on, you know, every supermarket floor and, you know, 2 meters distance everywhere because, you know, we know what that is. We can follow rules. We're good at following rules and actually having to use our own initiative.
Yes, we can. I'm very happy with the structure, but no one else can.
Well,
keep away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, Tom, what you need to do is enjoy a bit of confrontation.
I don't. But it's good. I'm a mathematician. I hate it. I will just.
Tom, you want to tell some people off on a train. You want to get yourself on a train. You want to tell some people off.
If you're feeling really angry, just get on a train.
The thing no one ever tells you about becoming a teacher. So I became a teacher when I was 21, and I only did it for 2 years. So you'd think, actually, in terms of my working life, it wouldn't have much impact. But I do still think it's my job to discipline people anywhere, really. Just, in the street, bus stops, and I'm not one of those people that's mean to people that aren't wearing masks. I understand there might be reasons for it. But, I just don't, as a former teacher, it's just always your job to instill discipline in anywhere you go.
Is this why you make your husband wear a school uniform even to this day?
Well, that's a different story, Benji.
Right.
Moving on. We're descending into madness here.
Anyway.
So what? This is Mathsat. So previously, this is a new reincarnation. We've always looked at films and had a discussion about the film, but we're changing the structure of Mathsat. And I'm going to be honest here to the viewers. I don't know what the structure is. So I'm going to throw to Ben, whose idea this was, and we'll see what happens there.
Well, I think it's rich to say that Mathsat has never had a structure, but
and I liked that.
We had zones.
We had zones.
Okay, but we're still going to have all the zones and everything that we had before. But
the movie zone then? What?
But we're just not going to have the movie zone. It's like when the Crystal Maze rebranded. Okay, and we lost like the underwater zone and gained the Aztec zone or whatever.
Right.
And we're never going to go to the movie zone. It's just sort of in a cupboard down there. But the idea is that there's so much maths out there, and there's so much maths happening now, or at least sort of shortly before the podcast is recorded, for suitable values of shortly, that we want to bring it to the viewer in a sort of unadulterated form that we can understand.
I'd like to jump on this point because I think you make a really interesting point that we could actually just discuss for a little while. Maybe I'll cut this out. Who knows? I'm in charge of the editing. We are now living through a period of where science is being done real time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And people are seeing that we get stuff wrong, and I think it's feeding into the idea of misinformation. So, but yesterday you told us this, today you tell us this. Ideas can change.
Right. So
and I suppose not just ideas can change, but the available evidence changes.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you have to change your ideas.
Maths is slightly different in that once it's proved forever. But quite a lot of the maths that is going on now is applied maths. So you're trying to model a system, which, as you say, we get different data. We have different ideas about how people interact or how they interact with the virus.
So you both applied mathematicians.
I am. I don't know what Ben is.
We do apply mathematics, but I mean, technically people call it statistics, but it's the same thing. We're applying mathematics to data effectively. But I mean, this is what we're intending to do, okay? We're trying to bring you some of the news and concentrate on the mathematics, not the politics, not necessarily the sociology, but kind of explain to you why the maths is there and what the maths means. But
that's why I have this disclaimer. If the maths turns out to be wrong in a few weeks, don't blame us.
Yeah, don't blame us. Don't write in. Okay, you can put a comment on YouTube, and we won't read it. But that's fine.
I do.
I'm not even going to watch the video. I mean,
we
to be honest,
be nice. But some of it will be trivial. Some of it will be entirely trivial mathematics. Some of it will be very important, life-changing mathematics. Okay, and the main criteria about what we include is whether it's going to be interesting or not. Okay, so if you like it, click the button down there and subscribe.
Subscribe and press the bell.
Bring you some more. Is it on that side?
Or that side? Well, the thing is, Zoom puts us in different places. So for me, it would be over here.
Right. Okay, hang on. Click the button up there and subscribe. But we'll be back bringing you all the highlights of maths in the world. And essentially, it's just us. It's just two mathematicians and the fabulous Liz who are talking about the maths of today.
We may have guests. We were talking about, we'll probably have guests in the future.
We have guests. And we'll just have a chat. And whatever's interesting, we'll
cut out and you can watch the rest.
you can watch the dross. So I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, then
There's always a
Nice.
thumbs down button, so use that.
No, don't thumbs down. Just go. I don't like being criticised.
There isn't a
I take it
thumbs
very
down.
personally. So
And with that, let's go. What should we call this? The news zone? Are we-
I don't know whether it's kind of recent enough, but the areas of interest zone, that's a
Okay,
shit name for a zone,
that's
isn't
a
it?
catchy title. Let's go to the areas of interest zone.
Let's go to the erogenous zone.
No,
The news zone.
the news zone.
So the first thing that caught my eye this week was the fact that it seems that the fact that my house is an absolute tip is not my fault. And let me tell
You're a parent, so it's probably your child's fault.
I mean, my house is it's my husband and I have been talking about moving, and I think we both just don't want to have to tidy my house.
Now, I assumed you were going to say, and we don't want to have to take the child.
Oh no, I mean, we're fond, but I think we both kind of had this fantasy where maybe we could just buy a new house and leave the old one as it was. And then it slowly dawned on us that the new house would also become messy, and we would have to tidy it.
This is one of the joys of being on a contract. Now I've got a permanent position. I'm in Cardiff. I'm staying here for a while. I'm not moving. When I was a student, or when I was on a contract of academic positions, we'd move every 3, 5, 2 years, something like that. And so you got rid of crap.
Yes.
Now that crap just builds, and you don't get rid of it.
I mean, I've lived in London since 2003. So what's that? Kind of 17 years.
17
oh my
years,
God,
yeah.
I'm so old. And I moved every year until I moved into this flat. And so, like you, I was very good at getting rid of stuff. But it is, I mean, it's very difficult being at home all the time with the toddler and staying tidy. And anyway, there's apparently a reason for this. And I'm going to get you guys to explain it, but it is apparently down to the second law of thermodynamics.
Oh, here we go. Very nice. Second law.
We should probably credit
the ABC Science by science reporter Susanna Lyons.
yes.
Can we just stop a second and also talk about Ben's tab management? You're one of these people. Me, I'm 1 or 2 tabs and then close. I must keep everything open.
These are all the things.
Could this also be down to the second law of thermodynamics?
These are all the things we're hopefully going to talk about.
Fair enough.
Yes. So second law of thermodynamics controls everything we do, apparently.
Well, I mean, all the it's a bit high level to say that. We are all subject to all physical law. You can't move faster than the speed of light. Don't know how much that's affecting me on my everyday level. So saying that we're subject to the second law of thermodynamics is quite a weak.
All right, hold up, boys. What is the second law of thermodynamics?
Entropy is always increasing. Is that the one? I assume that's the one we're talking about.
Yes, that is what it. So that is almost what it means.
Okay,
entropy. They've all got it. No,
But
that's
it's
not right.
entropy. Excellent. Well, I mean, it's all about death, really.
Right. Cheery.
So
I'd say it's all about heat, but never mind. Let's call it death.
Have you heard of the Big Bang?
Yes.
It's
Right.
a bad sitcom.
So the Big Bang started, and the universe was really hot and small and dense. And then the universe started expanding, and things started cooling down.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So not everything in the universe is the same temperature. Okay. So the inside of the Fabulous Liz is 37 degrees or whatever.
Well, we've already established that.
I was going to say we've already spoken about the temperature gradients between Cardiff and London.
Tom is
Exactly.
weirdly cold, and
Exactly. Okay. So some bits of the universe are hot, and some bits of the universe are cold, and we have some experimental evidence that confirms this.
We need experimental evidence. I have checked over there. My oven hot. My fridge cold. I have checked this.
is that why everyone's
Okay.
taking my temperature every 5 minutes at the moment?
Yeah, it's
It's kind of a
data
huge
for the
empirical
second law of
study to
thermodynamics.
prove.
Well, it could be. We're going to get lots of data, but the point is that the universe.
We've recruited every pub landlord.
Scientists think that, in the words of is it Tom Lehrer? Everything in the universe is going to cool down.
Yes.
And
what do we mean by cool down? So heat is just energy, particles. Particles with high energy, they move around very fast, and that's heat. Okay, and as the universe expands, everything spreads out. So everything starts to slow down, and that's the cooling, because the energy spreads out into a bigger space.
Okay. So as the universe goes on, all the energy will spread out, and everything in the universe will have the same energy or the same heat. So everything will be the same temperature, and it will be quite cold, but everything will just be basically get to as close as it can get to absolute zero and stay there. Okay, and that is basically the end of time, because you can't distinguish between anything anymore. Like nothing has any meaning because everything's the same. Okay?
That sounds a lot like my life at the moment.
So think about it. I want you to think of a thought experiment here. Okay, I want you to think of a drawer made of entirely white socks. Okay, you have a whole drawer of white socks, and then accidentally you put in one pair of red socks into that drawer. Okay, and then you close the drawer and you shake it up, and you shake up the drawer an awful lot. Okay, and after a little while, the sort of red socks will be dispersed. They won't be together, they'll be dispersed over the drawer. And then you shake it a bit more, and some of the strands of cotton come apart, and there's little red strands of cotton all over the base. And then you shake it a bit more, and all the atoms come
shaking
apart.
Here.
Yeah, lots of shaking. But the point is, you then just have a drawer sort of slightly pink, which is useless for keeping your feet warm. Okay? And that's thermodynamics. Okay? So I think more clearly stated is that we expect the disorder to increase.
Yeah. So far we've got a drawer of red and white cotton, because you've shaken it so much you've broken these socks down into the individual strands. Why have you done that, Ben?
Well, it was just an example, Thomas, because I'm not planning to do anything to Liz's sock drawer. I don't think I'll ever be allowed in Liz's sock drawer.
You're very welcome. Although, Benji, I do keep my pants in there as well. Just so you know.
Do you have because I have a separate pants and sock drawer. Do you? Is yours all together?
So I've got a drawer, and on one side is socks, and the other side is pants.
I'm not cutting this. I'm not cutting.
Drawer for tights. But recently, since I've had a baby, other people have been coming around and helping with my laundry, and not understanding my system. And so my system has now broken down.
So this is entropy. You started with a system, which is everything ordered. And because you've sort of taken control out of it, okay, you now have entropy.
Well, I now
can I just point out, we went full insanity back to... That was brilliant.
Wasn't it? This is why we get paid the big bucks. This is why at this moment, millions of people are hitting the subscribe button to find out more. Or on this side, we're not sure.
Or up there.
But do you see? So the amount of disorder in your house has increased. And what this article says is, well, it's going to happen inevitably.
Yes.
Okay. So in like the rest of the time that the universe is going to go on for, everyone's sock drawer would just become messy. Okay?
So, let me just explain the word entropy. So entropy just means disorder. It's right. State. And also just on top of Ben's anecdote about shaking the drawers, there is the idea that if you shook it for infinitely long, with forever, the socks would eventually come back together again. There was so much randomness in your system that eventually you would.
This is a kind of idea that I was in the article that I was kind of going to ask about, which is, so am I right in saying that essentially that when you have stuff in your house, because there's kind of essentially an infinite number of ways that stuff could be arranged, only a very small proportion of those combinations are a tidy combination.
That's one way of seeing it. The other way is just putting energy into the system. If you want to tidy up, you can do, but you have to put energy into that. You have to expend energy. Because you can't just the drawer won't automatically appear as a sock. The strands won't automatically appear. You have to keep shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking. And like in tidying up, you have to put energy into the system for it to be tidy.
There is a finite chance that if you open your sock drawer, the two red socks will be on top and waiting for you to just pick them out and pop them in your feet to ward against the cold. But the chances are they'll be buried under, 47 pairs of white socks, and as we found out now, other random things that people put in your sock drawer. And that's not your fault, Liz. Don't
I've
blame
got a wooden
yourself.
spoon in my sock drawer.
You have not.
I have.
Did you lose a competition?
No, it was somebody gave me a gift of a wooden spoon.
Right.
And they kind of put an inscription on it that was very meaningful from a time we worked together. And I didn't know what to do with the wooden spoon. And so I put it in my sock drawer. And now that's where that wooden spoon lives, because I can't use it as a wooden spoon because it's kind of a
on the wall.
It would be weird.
Oh, put it fine in the sock drawer on the wall. Crazy. Okay, right. So second toilet. But I mean, I often try this on Lorraine. Why am I tidying up? It's only going to get messy again. Can't we just cut out the middleman and leave it?
For people that are new to MathSat, Tom likes to pretend he's got a wife called Lorraine. None of us have met her. So we're not saying she's definitely imaginary, but we're just saying it would be weird if she existed. And we'd been to Tom's house, we'd all been away together, and Lorraine had never materialised. I mean, should we try the tank? Lorraine,
hello.
Okay, I was not expecting that to happen.
It's Alan Turing, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
Sir Isaac Newton.
Oh, sorry, that's Sir Isaac Newton. Sorry,
that's Brian May. These will appear throughout the series because I love them and they will be my mascot. So there we have.
So Tom, Newton. In your special fantasy, does Lorraine look like Sir Isaac Newton? I mean, because that's fine. Tom, I just want you to know I'm really supportive of it, and those choices that you're making are choices for you, and we love you.
So does Alan Turing and Sir Isaac Newton.
And Lorraine.
I don't think you
imaginary
understand.
Lorraine.
I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation.
Right, so I think we've solved the problem of just never tidy up. I am fully on board with never tidy up. Can we go on to the next story? Is there anything else we need to say? Just keep your house messy.
I will just say that our cleaner stayed away during the coronavirus period, and we.
Is this going to be a first world problem?
Yeah, and we kept her away. Told her not to come for quite a long time because we didn't want her to be at risk, and we didn't want to be at risk. Yeah. And she came back for the first time last week, and she hoovered. And my daughter, who is 15 months, was kind of interested in the hoovering because obviously not a great deal of hoovering has happened in the interim. And when the hoovering stopped, my daughter stopped what she was doing, sat up, and spontaneously applauded.
That's how you get me hoovering. If I got an applause when I finished, I would.
So the next story that caught my eye was one that particularly caught my eye because Benji, I know this is right up your street.
Oh, really?
Which is it's a story in The Guardian. Which is reporting a 2017 study suggesting that if you want efficient toilets, as in the minimum queuing time, you should have gender-neutral toilets.
Yes.
So can you tell us a bit more about that, Benji?
I can. I'm just trying to find it. Hang on. So I mean, what's your ideal toilet, Liz?
Oh, my own toilet, just for me. So it would be gender neutral in the sense that it would be just for me whether I was a man or a woman or a different gender. But it's just for me. And I don't even want to share a toilet with my husband.
I was going to say, the rest of the family know it's just
No, just for me. Just for me. And that it would be kind of in a little hut somewhere, but a nice hut, a heated hut with sort of lovely things. I just want everything to do with me washing and other toilet things just to be for me. I want it to be my space.
It's the dead of winter. You're nice and snuggly. All of a sudden, your bladder's full. Do you want to have to go traipsing out to your hut in the woods?
Oh, no, Tom, I've got a slide.
What? Of course. Sorry.
And it's a sort of indoor slide, so it's warm. So it actually goes directly from my bed.
It's a Wallace and Gromit. You hit a button, the bed, and you
slide.
Of course.
Hut.
Business.
And then I'd have to get back up somehow, but
elevator, I assume. Back
yeah.
Up.
I mean, it's the worst feeling in the world, isn't it? When you wake up in the night and you really need a wee, but you don't want to get out of bed and have a wee because you like being in bed. I have a very early memory of being, I don't know, 7 or 8, and imagining that perhaps I could get a large syringe and just jab it into my bladder, pull it out, and can't go back to bed.
You didn't follow the doctoral route. You didn't become a doctor.
I didn't. Apparently, that's not possible.
Right. Well, so I mean,
look, he asked. All right.
I do enjoy the fact you've really thought that out. You know, you have the blueprints made for this thing.
Anyway, Benji, tell us about cues.
Yeah. I think the Guardian picked this up because there's been quite a lot of focus on gender neutral.
What you said there is from a 2017 study.
Yeah, so I mean, it was in the Guardian, I think, the end of the last year, and I only just saw it, but I thought it was fascinating. So whatever we think of the politics of things, we don't like to touch politics at MathSat because we're hardly qualified on the mathematics. So we're going to struggle with the politics, but. This is your typical arrangement, okay? So we have a lovely pink toilet for the women and a lovely blue toilet for the men.
Right. Again, something for the audience. I'm colourblind, so are they literally colour-coded pink and blue?
Yeah.
A little bit. They're sort of pinkish and purple, but so this is from the author's blog, who produced this. But this is a typical toilet, okay? So they have a female toilet where everything is cubicle based, and a male toilet where you have a few urinals, and then a couple of normally quite disgusting cubicles at the end. It's obvious that on average men take less time in the toilet than women do. Okay. So what these people have done is they've done some simulations, and they found that the average queuing time for women in this particular arrangement is 6 minutes and 19 seconds. And for the men...
Did you say they've done simulations? They didn't even bother getting data. They just thought, well, screw it, we'll get some simulation.
Yeah, so I think that's right.
I suppose that would be a bit dodgy, someone sitting outside of a toilet with a clipboard. Just measure it. With you go, you click.
So I think the idea here is not to necessarily say, well, look at an individual toilet, but given that we've got space for sort of 24 toilets or whatever, what's the best we can do, and to use that to draw sort of general conclusions. So they're not looking at oh my word, we've got two.
I know. I'm gonna join us in the future here. Let me stop that video a second, because I think I should be able to. Use this to say draw. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, baby, we live in the future.
Okay, why?
Is that Ben then?
No, that was me.
No. I mean, the person in the toilet, is that Ben?
Oh, right. Sorry.
I love the way we have a drawing of a fictional toilet and it's still getting graffitiized. It's taking. But okay, so here's a question that Liz. Tom, do we think this is fair?
What, this current setup? Well, again, I mean, let's take away any toilet gender neutral, just about the queuing times.
Yes.
Well, it depends what you mean by fair.
I was going to say, I mean, it's there are toilets and people are using them.
I mean, it as a lady, I try not to use public toilets at all because
they don't have a slide from your bed to
exactly. I don't like to wee where other people wee. It's just for me.
What are we, animals?
Exactly. Anyway, but if I have to, it is annoying when let's say you go to the theatre and you want an ice cream and you want a wee, and sometimes there isn't time for both. But
No.
Can I just say, I hope there are some, other classes of people watching us rather than just the middle classes, because we're just speaking about the Guardian and our cleaner coming in and going to the theatre. Hi, Mum and Dad, you're probably watching this. You keep on being working class.
Tom, I mean, I don't want to give the impression I go to the theatre a great deal.
If you're working class, Hughes, just leave a comment so we know you exist.
And press
tell us
that
what you
like
think.
button.
You're so patronising, Tom. Maths is for everyone.
Would you like there to be a special like button for working classes?
We're going to do a working class maths chat where we talk about pie and mash and the difficulties of manual labour. Like, what is going on?
The amount of coal I can bring out of a mine, that's all I need to know.
I'm trying to tiptoe around the gender politics, and you're off on one talking about the boom class system. Everyone uses toilets.
Anyway, right.
Anyway, sorry, back to you, Liz. As a woman, you said.
Benji, I think there was an incorrect assumption in your initial kind of explanation, which is that men take less time than women at the toilet. There's no biological reason for that, as far as I know. And I think if you're in a cubicle, for whatever reason, you take bloody ages. Yes. If you're at a urinal, whatever the people that take bloody ages are doing in those cubicles, you don't get to do. And you have no idea. I've already told you, I like to get involved in other people's lives in public. The number of times someone has emerged from a toilet, having spent, let's say, 3 minutes in there, and just have had to really bite my tongue not to go, what were you doing? What were you doing for 3 minutes? It's going in, weeing, coming out under a minute.
No. I mean,
that's all you need.
Do you think, here's a question, and I think there should be data on this. Do you think the average time has increased because now the fact we all have phones and we, maybe look on our phone a bit?
Yes.
Maybe, but I guess guys don't look on their phones at their urinals, do they?
Oh, I've seen people very talented with their use of their hands.
I was going to say, what, one-handed here or what?
But you think people would be able to put it down for long enough to go to the toilet?
What, the penis or the phone? Anyway. But I also want to say, I agree with Liz on this. There is an assumption on this, because although there are that many toilets in the men's, we all know that they're not all going to be used, because no man will use that one.
Oh, I see. One. Okay.
So there must always be a urinal between every two gentlemen.
So I go to the rugby occasionally, and that's quite interesting at half time, because there's quite a lot of women and children and stuff there, but it is very blokey still. And the minute half time hits, you just have this room full of urinals, and everything is steaming. And the steam on a cold winter's day is actually quite pleasant, because you've been freezing in the stands. It's strangely pleasant. I mean, you like if you could, stuff up your nose to the smell of 100 men urinating in tandem, then the heat off this, and there your rule, Tom, breaks down. Your rule about not next to each other. And I think there's a critical mass about which we're in a manly situation. We're all being together. I don't understand it either, but that's what happened. Okay, so you've got your situation we started with the sort of 50-50 split, and then you can say, right, we're going to give more of the time or more of the space to the female toilet. So, and apparently that turns up, but
I assume the yellow ones then are gender neutral and everyone can use what they
exactly.
Like.
And they did various sort of permutations, and they found out that the best thing to do was just do this gender neutral.
What I like about that middle one on the bottom is essentially it's like, we'll make a big pit and you go wherever you like.
Yeah.
Well, big pit in the middle and wee into it.
So this is the best situation mathematically, having a load of gender neutral toilets. Okay. And then they sort of said, well, why don't we put some urinals in the middle? Okay. And that is actually better. Okay. But
because that removes some of your patrons, if you like. So some men will be going to the middle whereas in layout 5, those men will be blocking
Or
cubicles
maybe
to
some
be used.
gymnastic ladies.
Or
Well,
ladies
exactly.
who choose to use the urinals, indeed. Yeah.
So the mathematicians have simulated this, and they've said, look, here are some ideas that we can have. And then it's up to the politicians and society to say, well, do we accept this?
Can I, a quick question about the way they simulated this. Did the spatial, I don't know if you've read this, Ben. Ben, tell me everything about this paper. Was the spatial arrangement important?
I don't think they did anything with the space. I think this
Right,
is
so it was just
related
this
atom.
many toilets kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are some airport toilets that are so big that sometimes you don't know that it goes on that far. And if you
Oh,
just
my
keep
word.
walking, you end up in this magic wonderland where you get your own toilet and there's no one anywhere near you.
I assume you're not talking about when you're on the plane, because those things are tiny.
No, not on the plane, but actually in the airports. I'm sure I've been in airports where I've just kind of kept walking and sort of past Narnia, and then there was this kind of amazing magical toilet that no one had been in.
Urinating Mr. Tomness next to you.
Yes.
So there is a Japanese company that asks all their customers to go to the toilet immediately before takeoff, because they've worked out that the half litre they save from everybody is enough to sort of, I don't know, repopulate the Amazon with the.
That's brilliant, because yes, you need less fuel to carry those people because they weigh a bit less. That's
Exactly.
fantastic.
Do you know what? I think to be honest, that airline was just run by parents. Now, do you go to the toilet?
Why didn't you go before we got on the plane?
You always go for safety, So what's interesting about these queue systems is that they, this isn't in the paper, this is just me chatting, is that they're kind of chaotic. So small changes can have very large effects.
Yeah.
Butterflies farting, so if you reduce the number of toilets by 1, you can end up with an infinitely long queue.
Or you
Question
just
for the
get some
audience.
bugger that's in there for 10 minutes because they're like redoing their hair or something.
Exactly.
But question for the audience, below in the comments below, do butterflies fart? Could you just for me add that in information? Do butterflies fart? Thank you very much. Add that comment in below. Right.
Small changes
Sorry.
to the assumptions made in this simulation can make big changes in real life.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. And we're not talking about it today, but we've seen this, for example, in the A-level algorithm. People have assumed that something is so, and small individual changes in performance can make big differences to individual outcomes or even to global outcomes. Okay.
Yep.
So this operational research technique, this queuing theory technique, is a great first step.
Well, that's an interesting thing you mentioned earlier, because you were saying that this came out of work in 1920s. I always thought, most operational research, which this is a part of, the idea of the maths of procedures, that all came out of sort of World War II time, but this was already done.
Yeah, there was a big resurgence, but when computers started, basically, because a lot of this is computed, but certainly sort of after World War II. But 1920s Erlang, and the unit of so like the number of calls you get per second is in the units of Erlang. So he's like the SI unit of how many calls come in.
Calls come in from where? What? Hang on, you've lost me.
Oh, so if you get 56 calls a second in your switchboard, that's 56 Erlangs or something.
So wait, we've already got the hertz, but we thought, no.
Yeah. So I think Erlangs is sort of the number per second.
Does he also have a car rental company named after him?
he does not. I hope I haven't got that wrong, but it's I don't think it's often used.
But I think I found what I want as my goal in life. Ben will have succeeded if someone subscribes. Please subscribe. I will have succeeded if there's ever a Woolly. And I think the Woolly should be the measure of trust you put in a proof. It's a bit woolly. It's a bit woolly, this proof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Woolly logic is a proof that you've got some problem in.
Exactly.
What would a Parker be?
Isn't he the driver of Lady Penelope?
So I invented a shape, which I called the Parkagon. Yeah, because it didn't have a shape at all. So if you think of a running track shape, okay, so it's like a square bit, and then it's got 2 semicircles on the end.
Yeah.
What would you call that?
Well, actually, there has a lot of names. One is called just simply a sausage.
No, it's a Parkagon.
Is it Parker? Well, okay. Now, right, this is our mission. Parkagon.
Yeah, it's the 2D shape, not the 3D shape. 3D shape is a sausage.
Unfortunately, Ben, if it ever did get called the Parkagon, everyone would link it with Matt Parker. And not you.
Yeah. So Erlang, Wikipedia tells me, is the measure of offered load on telephone circuits.
I'll offer you my load.
So 60 minutes of traffic constitutes 1 Erlang. I hope you cut that out.
I kind of want you to keep it in, Tom.
So do I. The Erlang is the unit of traffic. 60 minutes of traffic on a telephone system is 1 Erlang.
Marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. I'm
not going to be able to stop thinking about that all day. Just Erlang.
Have a cup of oolong with your Erlang.
That's all the news we've got this week.
We've got loads more news, but we've used up a lot of your time. Your time is precious. Entropy is increasing. We're all going to die.
It's all the Erlangs we've got this week. Our capacity is exceeded.
Wonderful. So, shall we go to the puzzle zone?
The puzzle zone!
Okay, I have a puzzle for this week. I heard this one a little while ago, and it was sold under the guise of, it's a nice little problem because you can do it by algebra. You could write down everything and compute it. But if you just think about it in the right way, it becomes completely obvious. So, and I didn't think about it. So I will be completely honest, I failed at this. I didn't get that moment of genius. But if you do, it's a beautiful problem. On one day, a monk decides to walk up the mountain because he wants to see the sunset. Okay, so he gets up in the morning and walks up. He's walking up a mountain, so very slowly up the mountain. Gets to the top of the mountain and sees the sunset. Beautiful.
So he gets up in the morning to go and see the sunset in the evening.
Sunset in the evening. It's a mountain, Ben. It's a mountain. He's walking slowly up a mountain. The next morning, he stayed at the top of the mountain. He's camped there, and the next morning he sees the sunrise, a beautiful golden sunrise. Wonderful. And he leaves at exactly the same time. So he's the morning, let's say 9 a.m., doesn't matter. Let's say 9 a.m. on the first day, leaves his home, goes to the top of the mountain. 9 a.m. the second day. Sorry?
Did he have breakfast before he left?
He had a large, because he's walking a mountain then, he needs a good breakfast.
He's going to take a packed lunch though, presumably.
And also a packed lunch and also breakfast for the next day because he's stopping up there. He's camped at the top of this mountain. Saw a beautiful sunrise.
What
and
did
at
he
9
have for
a.m.
breakfast?
he then descends the mountain. But because he's descending the mountain, he's moving quicker. So 9 a.m. day 1 goes up the mountain. 9 a.m. day 2 goes down the mountain.
Did he have breakfast on the second day?
Yes, he took enough food. Packed lunches. He's well prepared.
So he's lighter on the way down.
And lighter and moving faster. Yeah. Very good point. It's not important, but good point. Is there a time at which the 9 a.m. on the first day, 9 a.m. on the second day, coming back down, is there a time at which he would meet himself if he could? So on the first day, he's walking up the mountain. Second day, he's walking down. Is there a time, say 10:15, at which he would be at the same point walking up as walking down?
Do we know how much faster he is on the way down?
You call it V1 and V2. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does if you wanted to work out the exact time, but I'm not saying what's the exact time that they need.
I just want to know what it is.
I've given away the answer. Yes, there is a time that that would occur, and if you really wanted to work it out, you'd need all that information. Mm-hmm. But how do I know that there would be a time? That's the thing. And it's not clear that there should be a time. But if you just think about it in the right way, you will immediately see.
Well, in the grand tradition of MathSat,
yes,
I will pledge now to think very hard about it this week, and then I will immediately forget. And then the next time you'll just have to tell me the answer.
And then I will tell you the answer. What are your any thoughts from you, Ben?
Yeah, I'm just worried about what kind of toilets did he have at the top?
He had a slide, actually, all the way back down. He had a toilet, and he only wanted to use his home toilet, so he slid all the way back down.
And did he take socks with him?
And were they red or white?
It was a very warm day. Didn't need heating. Didn't need socks.
Did he take a wooden spoon with which?
And so with that, thank you everybody. Thank you for listening. Please do subscribe. Please do share. Please do all the things you. What are you on? Gen Z now? Is Gen Z the one after? We're millennials. We're out.
I don't have a clue how this works. Like just.
Benji, are you millennial?
I don't think you are. A millennial. I was like 24 when the millennium happened. No, I was 22. I can't do maths.
I'm just a millennial by about
Are you?
5 minutes, yeah.
By 5 minutes. But so let's give this episode a rating, shall we? Ben, give me a random scoring system and a random point on this. How do you feel the new maths
Rating
act?
ourselves, Tom.
We're grading ourselves. This is a new era in the world of maths acts. How do you think it's gone, Ben?
Well, I think on the Great British class system, we're sort of, chartered accountant level. we're up there and aiming higher, hoping for a peerage.
Lots of ambition there. Lots of ambition.
Yeah, I mean, from accountant to peerage, I'm not sure that's happened a great deal.
It depends how much money you give the whatever party's in power at the time.
Benji!
Moving quickly on.
Benji!
We're cutting that bit out, aren't we?
Okay. Liz, how do you feel the new era of maths act is going?
So I'm going to go on a scale of very, very hot to via entropy to very, very cold. I don't care.
Correct. That is the correct mark on that.
Okay.
My marking system will be from Liz's bedroom to her toilet, and I'm saying you're around the kitchen.
Okay.
Things are warming up. There's a lot going on in the kitchen.
I mean, I live in a flat, right? So
it's a great level.
Yeah.
There are 4 men and 2 women in your toilet checking their mobile phones right now.
And with that, thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful for us, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. We have been Mathsat. I've been Thomas Woolley. Goodbye.
I've been Ben Parker. Goodbye.
And I have been Liz.
And so with that, we have been Mathsat. Winning at maths, losing at life. Good night.
This podcast is a Random Walks production performed by Thomas Woolley, Ben Parker, and the enigmatic Liz. Intro and outro music was Clonky Donkey by Nikolai Heidlas, and the incidental stings were Cartoon Bank Heist from YouTube Audio Library.